Hi, my name is Anushka Basu. I study in Modern High School for Girls. So I have the TI Inspire calculator, and I've been using it for like 1.5 years now. And I use the calculator for academics. So mainly I use it for like the for my maths class. But along with that, I also use it for my science subjects like biology and chemistry. And then the calculator TI Inspire, it is very useful and it's very easy to handle. So before this calculator TI Inspire, I had the TI 84 plus CE, and which was also a very good calculator. But after exposure to the TI Inspire, solving sums have become really easier. So like some of the exclusive features of TI Inspire are we can graph Voronoi diagrams, which is a part of our IB syllabus, and which is not I cannot draw those in the TI-84 plus CE, that calculator. And then graphing a function in this calculator is very easier because I can just input the function and the graph is like it's readily drawn. But whereas in the TI-84 plus CE there were like numerous steps to just draw a graph, and doing statistical problems, it is also that are also very efficient because there is a specific feature for of a spreadsheet in the TI Inspire. And the best feature I like about TI Inspire is that we can save documents and have multiple pages open where we can do different questions or parts of the same question. So, like during our exams, if there are like multiple parts to a question, then we can simply like open different pages and have solve them separately. Then so initially when I got the TI Inspire last year, I was very confused, like what to use for like specific functions, and thought that along the sum, and even thought that doing the sum manually would be easier for me. But after like attending many workshops and webinars by Texas Instrument, I am able to grasp all the functions and nuances of the calculator. So now I cannot do a complicated math problem like without the TI Inspire. So it's been a really it's this calculator is really helpful.
Hello friends, this is Krish and with me there is my friend Abhay, and today we are going to tell you something about our experience with the TS softwares and the handheld. So let's go. Our experience with the handheld and the TS softwares has been extremely wonderful till now, and we genuinely love the software and the handheld, and we're pretty sure that it's going to be way more amazing in the coming years too. Having the TS softwares and the handheld was really helpful for both of us because we literally use it each and every day when we do the calculations or even in other subjects to do stuff, and we are actually love it to such an extent that I and Abhay actually created a YouTube channel called Crab GDC, through which we actually want to pass on our knowledge about the TS softwares and the handheld to our peers too.
The first question is how do we come to know about the GDC and TI softwares? And the answer to that is that Heritage actually required us to purchase the TI Inspire CX calculator, since it's a pretty useful tool employed by a lot of IB schools around the world. And the calculator does help people in most of the sciences and maths. So the second question is, since when have we been using them? And since Krish and I chose international maths, we started using it in ninth, and we will continue to use it for the diploma program and for tests like the SAT. New concepts and implementing interactive methods of teaching. So I personally loved the TI because it helped me start out with modeling, something that I now really like, and it gave me a base for that concept. Even though it can't do a lot of complex things, it did spark an interest and it did help me build a base in that concept. It's also really great for subject tests like the SAT and ACT, and also good for IGCSE and IB exams.
Namaste. My name is Veer Mehta. I am studying in the Galaxy School Wadi, Rajkot. I have received this book, and its name is Companion Guide to the International Mathematics. This book is extremely helpful for learning the GDC calculator, as it has a very self-explanatory and easy to understand language. Moreover, it has a section of questions and notes. This helps us to practice the learnings which we learn in the book. Also, the quality of the pages is very nice, and there are many images in the book. These images help us navigate through the calculator and learn it in a better way.
Good afternoon, all, and welcome to the training session hosted by Numerical Analytics Instrument Private Limited. So this is Independence Day special for all the students around India, and we are having this introductory session for TN Spice CX2, where we'll be talking about a lot of things, questions, tips and tricks, and we'll see how the different types of shortcuts available on the calculator itself. So without a further ado, I would like to welcome all of you. So uh, stay with us. This is for 1 hour. If we exceed, don't mind. Let's start. So hello, I am Hassan. I am a Texas Instruments trainer. I am also a BTech in Power Plant Engineering. And today with us, there is a special guest, Miss Monica. She is IB, MYP, and DB mathematics educator from Srinidhi International School, India. And she's the head of the department for mathematics, and she's also a ATL coordinator. So about us, we are the education technology provider. We support students to avail the world-renowned STEM technology in India through Texas Instruments. We also deal in interactive tools and resources, and we provide these resources and learning tools for all the education industries like schools and also colleges. And we have been doing these activities from a very long time now. We are here for the 13th year. So without a further ado, let's move ahead and let's see the calculator which is in your hand. So I presume like everyone has bought the calculator TI-Inspire 62. See, this is the latest model, and this is the keypad layout of the calculator. Like it has 3 sections. One is a navigate zone. On the top, you can see this is the navigate zone. And in the middle, we have a math and numeric zone where all your mathematical keys, numeric keys are available. And in the bottom, you have an alphanumeric zone where alphabets from A to Z are given. Along with this, we have some special key on a keypad. Okay, and these key, if you look at these keys are also present in your laptops or computer. Okay, and these key, and you are familiar with all of these keys. Like you have a escape key. So in the escape key, if you can see, escape key is used to come out of from any screen. Let's say you have opened multiple menus and you want to come out of that menu, you use escape key. Okay, then you have a tab key. So tab key generally used to move from one field to another field. You use tab key and you go from one field to another field. Okay, then you have a control key. So you can see there are many options available above the keys which are written in blue color. These blue color function can be accessed using the control key. You press control key and you press any of the key to invoke the function written in the blue color. Then you have a shift key. So shift key basically used similar as they do in the laptops, like it capitalize the letter, but it has 2 more shortcuts. Okay, just watch. If you want differentiation shortcut and if you want integration template directly, you can get it. Like if you press shift plus, you get integration. If you press shift minus, you get differentiation template. So these are the shortcut you can use in your classroom, like shift plus integration, shift minus differentiation. Okay, then you have a delete key. So let's say you have written something wrong and you want to go and you want to correct that part. You can go back and you can use the delete key to delete, and you can rewrite whatever you want to write. Then you have a space bar also available on this calculator like handle. So space bar used to do some spacing between the word. So these keys are just similar as they do in the laptops or computer. Okay, so you can say like this handle is your mini computer without internet or Wi-Fi. Then along with all these, we have some special templates available. Like we have a relational key template, we have a trigonometric template, we have a pi key template, then we have a mat template key, then we have a catalog key, then we have a punctuation key. So these templates are also available with this calculator. Like you can use those key to invoke the template. Okay, I'll show you in the calculator itself like how you can access those templates. Then along with the calculator, all of you have got the student software as well. So along with this calculator, you have gotten one template which looks similar like this, and on the second page of this template, you will get the license key for the software. So you can download the software from education.ti.com, and you can use this student software along with the calculator for lifetime. Okay, so this license key is for the lifetime. This is not 1 year subscription, 2 year subscription. This is for lifetime. You can use this license key for lifetime. Then we have some regular upgradation for the operating system of your calculator also. So currently for the newest operating system, we have 5.3. So operating system 5.3 is the latest operating system for your CX2. So if anybody have a software version lesser than 5.3, they can upgrade their software operating system by going to education.ti.com website and follow the instruction given there. So if any of your calculator says 5.1 or 5.2, do upgrade to 5.3, because in 5.2 or 5.3 you have a Python programming as well with the calculator. Then let's come to the major part. Like if you can open your calculator, and if you press on key, you will see this black screen. Now this black screen is known as the home screen of the calculator. Okay, this is the home screen. You can see a home icon is also given there. So if you press this key, you will get this black screen, which is called home screen. So home screen is divided into 3 sections. One is scratchpad. On the left side, you can see scratchpad. We generally do not use the scratchpad because if you save the document, the scratchpad will not get saved with the document. We generally go to the document and we generally open a new document first. So in the document section, you can see there are some options given like new, browse, current, setting. And these options are used to open a new document, work on that document, to change the setting of the document. So these options are available on the document section. So if you want to change any setting of any of the documents, you can just go to the number 5 and you click enter. You can see you can change the document setting as well. In the document setting, you can change the display digits, like you can change it to any fix or any float. Float means the significant figure and fix means the decimal point. Okay. Then you can change angle to degree to radian from here. You can even change the format of your answer. Like if you want the scientific or engineering, you can do that. Then you can change the mode from complex to real. Then you can even change the mode of the calculation. If you want the answer in the approximation form only, you can do that directly from here. And other things are also given, like vector format, you can change, base you can change, and you can press OK. So these are the settings given in the document. Then you have a new. So whenever you are going to work with any of the problem, you first have to open a new document. So just open a new doc, and if it says save the unsaved document, you can save it, but right now I don't want to save it. I'll say no. So it will ask you to open a different application. So we have 7 to 9 different applications in the calculator, starting from calculator, graph, geometry, listing spreadsheet, data and statistics, notes. You can do science experiment in 1 year data quest. Then we have a programming like Python and basic programming. You can do that as well. But today we will going to see like how you can use calculator, how you can use graph, list and spreadsheet and so on in your calculator, and how you can optimize. And we will see the introduction only. And for the specific topics, we are going to have some dedicated webinars in the coming month, September, where we will see a topic wise discussion in all the IB and IGCSE. So today is only an introduction. So stay with us. So like calculator, if you add a calculator and if you press menu, you will see something like this, like algebra, calculus, probability, straightforward. Like if you add a calculator page and if you open a menu, you will see a set of menus, different options available. Like you can do numbers, you can do algebra in the calculator, you can do calculus, you can do probability, you can do statistics, you can do finance, you can do metrics and vectors as well. So they are the, these are the straightforward menu options available for you. You won't get confused where to go. If you are doing a question on the algebra, you have to go to algebra only. In algebra, what you are doing? Polynomial, you are doing linear equation, you can accordingly select the options available. Now, if I want to come out, I can just press escape key to come out of the screen. So I can add a new page. I can even add a new page by pressing Control Dock to add a new page. I can add a graph page. I can go to menu. You can see set of different menus. So this is called a page menu layout. So all the pages have their own set of menus. Okay, so here you can only do the step related to graph. You can add a geometry application and you can click menu. You can see a different set of menus available, which is exclusive only for the geometry. You won't get confused with algebra, with calculator, graph, or geometry. It will only give you the options which are available for geometry only. Like you can draw points in lines, you can do shapes, you can measure, you can do construction and all those things. Then if you go to other page like list and spreadsheet, you can see list and spreadsheet looks similar to what Excel used to see. Excel used to look. Like if you press menu, you'll see different set of menus. Like you can do stats here, you can stats calculation, one variable stats, two variable. You can do distributions. You can even do stat test in your IBDP. Then we have a data and statistics where you can have scatter plotting, you can do regression, you can do those kind of things here. And it has a different set of menus. Okay, it has a different set of menus like plot type, analyze, and all those things. So this is called a page menu layout. Now you can add multiple pages, you can add multiple problem as well. Like if you go to doc, if you insert, you can add a new problem as well. Okay, you can add calculator. It says 2.1, so I was on 1.5, now it says 2.1. so this is problem number 2, page number 1. Now I can add another page, let's say graph, it says 2.2, problem number 2, page number 2. So if you have one problem and it has many sub part, you can always add a new problem for new page problem, and for each part you can add a new page. So it says page and problem. So let me go back to my presentation, and here we have seen the home screen. Now we have a page menu layout. Like all different application have their own set of menus. Okay, and how to use those menus we are just going to see when Miss Monica will continue with his presentation. I just want to show you like each application has its own menus. Then the document section. So we have seen like you can create problems, you can create pages, you can create up to 30 problems. Okay, you can create up to 30 problems in one single document. And in each problem, you can add up to 50 pages. So if I do permutation and combination, in all, I can do 1500 pages. I can add 1500 pages. Okay, 30 problems, and each problem I can add 50 pages. Then there are other shortcuts also available on this. Like if you see these shortcuts, Control S, Control C, Control X, Control V, you just by looking at these shortcut, you can remember like Control S is for save, Control C for copy, Control X for cut, Control V for paste. You can use all these shortcuts in this calculator. Okay, so you can use this shortcut in this calculator. So without a further ado, I would like to call Miss Monica to start with the problem solving using the TI-Nspire CX2. Monica, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Hassan. And firstly, thank you for joining us. And it's a Saturday and many students have shown interest. This really shows how motivated you all are. Okay. And during this session, what we would be doing is we would be focusing on the concepts of algebra as we are in the beginner level. So these are certain questions which you all might have studied in your grade 10. So there should be not any problem of a concept issue. So the purpose of this particular session would be for you to focus on how to approach a calculator. Okay, just give me a minute. I will share my screen. Right. So we will see certain set of questions, and I want you all to actually follow along with me while I'm doing the questions. And if you have anything to ask, you can please raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat box. Either me or Hassan, anyone would do that for you. We can answer for you. Okay, so let's see the first question. An electrician charges $60 call out plus $45 per hour he spends working on the job. Okay, the first question is to copy and complete this table. Could someone tell me what could be the cost when the time is 0? So when you call him, you will have to by default pay $60. And for every hour that he spends on working, you are paying $45. So at 0 hours, the price would be 60. And at 1 hour, how much would it be? It would be 60 plus 45, which is 105. And at 2 hours, what could it be? Hassan, I just have a question. Are they allowed to answer or is just chat?
They can answer on chat.
Oh, okay. Then the next one would be 150. Then the next one would be 150 plus 45. It should be 195. And the next one would be 190 plus 45, which would go around 240. And then 285. So this is the data. Now, we have to construct a graph showing the relation between the cost and the time. Okay. And also we have to find the model. The word model here means to find an equation connecting to cost and time, right? So let's see how we can do this. Now, if you all have your calculators ready with you, what I want you to do is open it and go for a new doc, right? Yes. So I'll just display this for you for a few minutes so that you can see and be ready with your calculator. Yeah. So this is the interface that you will have to see. This will be the calculator one you will see. This is in the Zoom version. If you all download or if you all install the software with the activation code, this is how you see it. Go to new document. Then here we will do add and list in spreadsheet because we are trying to give relation between time and cost. Okay. Now use your up button. If you see, this is your up button. Side left button, right button, and down button, similar to how you see your computer keys. Use your up button and move to the panel where you see column A and name it as time. That means you are naming this particular column to insert the values which are related to time. Then move on to the side button. It will not go directly, so you have to come one step down and then move up. Now name this as cost. So we are trying to find relation between time and cost. Come down and now start inserting your values. So our time started from 0 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and 5 hours. You can simply do this by plugging in the number and then pressing the down key. Okay, so corresponding value for 0 was $60. And the next value was $105, then $150, $195, $240, and $285, right? So this is your information. If you remember, the question was asking us to show the graph between these two. So now we have the data ready. Now we have to plot the graph. So go to control, press control doc. It will open a new page for you. Immediately, as soon as you see the new page, you will have multiple options to choose. Now go to the option called add data and statistics, right? If you see, there are some random points already mentioned here. What you have to do is hover over your cursor. To hover, you have to use this particular panel. This is a touchscreen panel you can use. You can hover it down and click on time because time is on x-axis. So if you see, our range was from 0 to 5 and the same thing is shown here. Similarly, hover over it to y-axis and click on cost. So this is the graph which shows the relation between time and cost, right? Yeah. Okay, so we are done with graphing of it. Now the next question was to find a linear model connecting C and T, that is connecting cost and time. Now we need to know a general equation that will fit for this particular context of the problem. So what you can do is over here, click menu. This will give you further options that you can do for this graph. Okay, and go to analyze. And in this you have regression. And if you see the first option, it shows show linear mx plus b, which is a general equation of a line equation. Just click that and you're going to get your equation. So the model that connects the time and cost for this particular function is y is equals to 45x plus 60, right? So this simple it is while you do any calculations for functions specifically, as we started with linear functions. Okay. Now we know that the answer that we have obtained is y is equals to 45 times x plus 60. Now, what could be the value for this? So we already have a model that is y is equals to 45x plus 60. And now they're asking us to find what could be the value or what could be the total cost of the electrician to be paid when you do it for 6.5 hours. Okay. Now let's just plug in x value as 6.5 and you will get the answer, that is y, which belongs to cost. So this is as simple as it is. You just, if you do 2-3 questions of the similar model, it will be very hands-on for you to experiment, right? Okay. Moving on to quadratic function. I'm sure all of you are in grade 11 and you might be knowing quadratic function. Right. So there are multiple ways to do quadratic function in this, and we will use a graphing tool, right? Again, I'm closing this for those students who are not clear on how to open it. So this is the panel you will see first, then go to new document, and then now we will use a function called add graph because we are going to graph this function and then further investigate on how it works, right? So our function was minus of x plus 5 times x minus 1. Okay. If you all have a book and pen, please note it down as I hover the screen here and there. It would be easy for you to follow. All right, I'm moving to the TI screen. Okay, so it was minus. So I'm just, you can observe the left side panel what I'm doing. Brackets open, it was x plus 5. Again, the brackets closed, brackets open, times x minus 1. And click enter. Immediately you will see a curve. But what you see the curve is, it's a maximized version of the curve. So in TI, you also have an option where you can zoom in or zoom out. So I will use I'll go to menu. Then I see window and zoom option. For this, you can either click window or zoom, and also you can click number 4. It automatically retrieve you the data. So go to zoom out. So if you see, this is now minimized. This is zoomed out version, right? So this is how you can function a graph. Now we did the functioning of graph. We did the, we will go to the first question. So it is called axis intercepts. So we have 2 types of axis intercepts. One is x-intercept, which is acquired when y is plugged in as 0. And then we have y-intercept when we plug this x is equal to 0. That means, for example, if you have a curve like this will be these points, like point A and point B will your x-intercepts, because at this locations, at this coordinates, the y value is 0. Similarly, if you want to understand y-intercept, the point C will be a y-intercept because at this location, your x value is 0, right? Now let's go back to our TI software and see where is it. So if you see, you can identify two locations where it is cutting, the curve is cutting the x-axis, that is at 1 and one more at -5. So from here we can understand directly that x-intercepts would be 1 and -5. Now similarly, can you all try looking at the screen and tell me what could be y-intercept? You can put it in chat box. The y-intercept would be this location. Okay, what is that location? It is on the positive y-axis, and the answer would be what? It would be 5. So y-intercept is 5. It is as simple as that. Just by one graphing tool and observing, you can immediately tell what are the x-intercepts and what are the y-intercepts. In fact, you can also determine the shape of a quadratic function. This is concave down. That means the parabola, the shape of the quadratic function is called parabola, which opens downwards. Now, next question, which means find the equation of axis of symmetry. So axis of symmetry is exactly a middle line between two x-intercepts. Since we already know what are the x-intercepts, right? These are the x-intercepts. You just need to find the mean value of it. So what it would be? It would be 1 plus -5 over 2, which is -4 over 2, that is -2. Got it? Okay. Now next, how to find the vertex? Could you all help me in the chat box understand how to find the vertex? Yeah, please let your answers keep coming. Vertex is simply nothing but you will have to substitute the axis of symmetry value in the major function. So when x is equals to -2, what would be your major function? That will give you the vertex. If you all solve, the vertex should be -2, 9, right? In this case, where do I observe? I observe at this peak point, -2, 9. Okay. Now moving on to the next question, it says sketch the function showing all important features. Now, if this question arrives in your exam or paper, that means you have to draw a function which is similar to what you see from the TI, okay, and you have to mark them. So you will mark here one of the first x-intercept, that is 1, the second x-intercept -5, here the vertex, and the line passing through this particular vertex would be your axis of symmetry, right? Now the major and important function, state, domain, and range. Can someone help me understand what is domain and what is range? Domain is basically a function, basically an attribute, mathematical attribute, which will help you understand what are the possible values of a function taken for x. If you see, if I drag my screen up or down, the function is going on for all the possible values of x. That means it's a never-ending function for all the possible values of x. So it would be x belongs to real numbers. This is your domain. Similarly, what is your range? The range would be, the range would be, if you see all the possible values of y. If you see in the negative y-axis, it keeps going until -infinity. But if you see positive y-axis, it only starts at a point of 9, right? So what would be the range here? Y is less than or equals to 9. That means the y can only take values which would be less than or equals to 9. So Normally, this question in IB papers could be around 4 to 5 marks, but it will hardly take you 2 to 3 minutes to solve with the help of aid of calculator, right? So this is how it is very easy to analyze the information that is given in the question, apply it in the calculator, and then get your solutions. All right, we will move to our next question. This is on the concept of correlation. Right. Now, what is correlation? Anyone? What is the concept of correlation? The concept of correlation will give you an idea about how one attribute or one aspect is related to other. For example, I can give you a simple example. The number of hours you spend watching TV versus your academic performance. There could be some relation between the time you spend on watching TV versus the academic performance, because if you spend more time on only watching TV, you will lack time for studying. So there could be some connection between both, some connection between two aspects. In that case, the mathematical function of finding it is called as correlation. And as you all know, there's a concept of scatter diagram where you plot the variables with respect to chemical, in this case, with respect to chemicals and surviving beetles. Now let's see this question. The botanical gardens have been trying a new chemical to control the number of beetles infesting their plants. The results of one of their tests are shown in the table, right? So they have seen, this is a kind of observational data. They took 5 samples and they have observed for different quantities how many beetles are surviving. Okay, now let's dive into this question. Again, for this kind of questions, we will be using a tool that is add list in spreadsheets. Okay, so let's go. And we will need to find out the relation between quantity of chemicals. So I'll just name it as chem, right? And I'll go to the next column and I'll name it as beetles, because we have to find the relation between the quantity of chemical used versus the number of beetles survived. So we will consider 1 as sample A, 2 as sample B, 3 as sample C, 4 as sample D, and 5 as sample E, right? So it was 2 grams, 5 grams, 6, 3, and 9. All right. And the number of beetles corresponding for 2 is 11, 6 for 5, and for sample C it was 4, and then for sample D it was 6, and then last one is 3. Now we need to plot a scatter plot for this, right? We will go to menu. We will go to a control doc because we need to use a new doc where you will have to see the scatter plot. So control doc, add data and statistics. Now see, it's already plotted. We just need to give a proper validation for this particular graph. So on x-axis, we will consider the quantity of chemical used. And on y-axis, we will consider the number of beetles survived. See, this is the scatter plot. This is similar to what you do in your graph sheet. It is a scaled version, right? Okay. So now we will have to determine the correlation coefficient of this. The correlation coefficient are 2 types, that is negative and positive. The negative tells how one is related to other. For example, if you increase the quantity of chemical used, automatically the number of beetles that will survive will go less. That means they're inversely proportional to each other, inversely related. That would be negative. And for example, if you want to understand the positive version, the number of hours spent to exercise versus fitness. If one is growing, other will definitely grow. That is positive. All right. So the first question was to draw the scatter diagram, and this is how it looks. And moving on to the second one, the correlation coefficient. All right. So we'll come back to our page where we had our data and click on menu. and you will see 5 options, out of which go to stats. In that, move to stat calculations, and you will see 1 variable statistics, 2 variable statistics, regression. You can go for linear regression. Just a minute. All right, so this is how it comes. And I've listed my X as chemicals, which is named as chem. So please give the same name, whatever you're using for column. And for my Y list, I have put it as number of beetles, that is beetles. Okay, and if you see the next one, it says this particular equation, whatever you do for the scatter plot, it will be saved in equation F1. And if you scroll down a little, it will be saved in the column C, the result. All right, this is how it looks for you. And once you move down, you will be seeing the value negative 0.8589. That means the negative indicates that as the quantity of chemical improves, the number of surviving beetles get reduced. And what type of correlation does it show? A moderate type of correlation. So this is such easy to answer with the help of aid of calculator. All right. So now describe the correlation between the quantity of chemical and number of surviving beetles. So it's very simple, isn't it? Now with the correlation coefficient, we have found out that as the quantity of chemical increases, the number of surviving beetles decrease. So this is how you can solve a question related to statistics on correlation. All right. Now, moving on to this. This is a question on point of intersection. There are 2 quadratic functions and you will have to plot them and check where the point of intersection happens, right? I'll just show you graphically how it looks. For example, let's say I have quadratic function A and quadratic function B. And these 2 are intersecting at X and Y, let's say. Now we will have to find what are the coordinates of X and what are the coordinates of Y. So with the knowledge of the second question that we have done, we will be easily able to do this question. All right. Now we will be going on a TI screen. Go to new document, and now we are functioning with graphs. So we will do add graphs. And the first equation was minus x square plus 2x minus 1. Once after you enter the equation, just press enter and you will see a curve. This is our first curve, so that's why it says function 1. Now, if you want to enter the second curve in the same page, click on the button tab. So automatically it gives you F2, that is function 2. The function 2 was minus x square minus 4x plus 7. All right. So if you see, the red function is the second one and the blue one is the first one. So this is how they are. Now let's go to menu to zoom out. All right. So I've zoomed out. And if you hover over the screen, you'll see a hand button. And if you long press, it will hold it and you can move it also. So I can also move the labels of the function wherever I need, especially when you're submitting your projects and you want to take screenshots and you want to make it clear. This will be very helpful. So what you have to do is just take the cursor and this button, what you see here in the center, click long and just you will see the hand molded down. You can move it wherever you want on the screen and just release. Done. Similarly, if you want to move the screen, it is the same way. Now let's see where these both intersect. All right. So can someone guess where these both intersect? Now, if you want to see the questions again, if you want to see the functions, for example, you just need to press tab and press up button. It will take you up. So here the question was actually plus x. So just enter and this is the change. All right, then go to menu and go to analyze graph. You will see the fourth indication of a function saying intersection. So click and you will see a dotted line which will ask you to give the boundary first. So I'll start my boundary here and I want in this area to find what is my intersection. So my first intersection point is 1, 2. All right, but I can see on my screen that there is one more. So repeat the operation. Go to menu, analyze graph and click intersection. Now come from left to right and click on it. You will see. So the 2 point of intersection for this particular functions are -4,7 and 1,2. Right. So this is such simple. And you have color coded versions of functions so that you understand what is what. It is not confusing, right? All right. Next. This question is in connection with simultaneous equations. Okay. Let's see. If you normally take time doing this by hand, it would be little more than that of a calculator. Let's see how. A cricketer hits the ball in the air with the path shown alongside, and if you see, the path is quadratic in nature. Use technology to find quadratic model connecting y and x. All right. So see the first one. We do not have any equation for this particular curve. In that case, finding maximum height would be difficult. So what do we do? So let us consider the general equation y is equals to ax square plus bx plus c. Now what will I do? We have 3 points. These are the 3 points. Let them be named as A, B, and C. So my first equation would be in plugging in A in my main equation. So what would it be? 15.25 is equals to A 20 square plus B into 20 plus C. So it would be 15.25 is equals to 400A plus 20B plus C. Similarly, you can plug in the second one, that is 10,9. It would be 9 is equals to 100A plus 10B plus C. There's one more, which would be 19 is equals to 900A plus 30B plus C. Now you have these 3 simultaneous equations where you have to solve them and then you need to find A, B, C values, which is really time taking. Agreed? Isn't it? So what we can do using TI is, first we need to generate these 3 equations. All right. Now I have my 3 equations. Okay. Now what I have to do is I have to solve them. So let us go through how to solving it. Again, new document. And now I'll be adding my calculator because this is simultaneous equation solving. Then go to menu. You will see an option called algebra. And you see second option which says solve system of linear equations. Right? Now, how many equations did I generate from my question? It is 3. And automatically it will show you the variables x, y, z by default, which you can, translate to A, B, C from the equation we got in the question. And click OK. Now it is asking you to insert the values. All right. Now I'll do that. Just see. Instead of A, I'll be using X. Instead of B, I'll be using Y. And instead of Z, I'll be using C. So it's like alternate. So its first equation was 100x plus 10y plus z is equals to 9. This is one of my equations. The next one was 400x plus 20y plus z is equals to 15.25. All right. And the next one was 900x plus 30y plus z was equals to 90. All right. So just check all of them should be in the equations of x, y, z. That is what we are trying to find. If you see the curl brackets at the end of the equations, that indicates that you are applying a command saying solve these and get the values for x, y, z. So come out of the brackets and press enter. You see the first option which says minus 0.0125. This represents your x value. And you see the second option which represents 1. This represents your y value. And the last one which represents your z value. That means you are able to generate your equation. So what would it be? The equation would be minus 0.0125 x square plus 1x plus, 1x plus 0.25. This is the equation that is displayed by this particular question, the context of question. From this, finding the maximum height or finding anything that you need is quite simple. All right. So this wouldn't take much time. This is very easy to solve and you will get answers in seconds. Only thing you have to make sure is the variables that you're requesting to get the answers for and the one you're entering is same or not. All right. Okay, so this is very simple question as we will end here with this question. So we know how to find mean, median, mode normally. Let's say if you have a big data and big numbers, in that case also your calculator can be of great help. In that case, what you have to do is very simple. Just go through the menu. First, new document. Go through add and list in spreadsheet and name this document as number. All right. Please remember what you're giving there. Now, let me enter some random values to find mean and median. Okay. I'm just entering some 10 values so that you all can try the question which is displayed earlier by yourself after this. All right. So we have entered around 9 values. Okay, we'll enter last ones. Okay, so I've entered 10 values. Now, let me go to a new doc and click add calculator. Simply what you can do is using this particular alphanumeric keypad, press on mean and open the brackets. And remember, what was the title of this particular column? It was num. So just enter num and close it. And how do you know whether you're right or wrong? When you give the right indication, when it reads from the right page, this particular num becomes bold. All right. And then once you close the brackets, enter, you will get the value of mean. All right. Now, let's say this is in fractions and you want to convert into a decimal. Now press on the up button that you see here and press enter. So that means it copies. All right. Now you need to make this to a decimal. So go to menu and then number, you see convert to decimal, just click that. So it's giving an instruction saying convert this fraction to a decimal and enter, you will get a decimal value. So it's very easy. And if you make any changes to this particular column, automatically the answer will be updated here because you are giving a function saying find the mean value of this particular number. Similarly, median, just write median and brackets open, num, you will get the answer. And if you want to change this back to decimal value, click up button and then click enter, menu, number, converted as. Got it? So this is how it is simple. Now we can allow you around 2 to 3 minutes of time to copy this data and try it by yourself. And let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. So I have something to show to the students, like if you can give me the share.
Yeah, I'll just stop it.
Yeah. So I have seen some of the participant has commented like how we can store a function or a variable inside a calculator. So what you need to do is you need to open a new calculator application first. And let's say you want to save any variable. Let's say you want to save A. Whenever you want to save a value, you have to give it a name. Let's say A, I want to save it as 2/3. So I'll write A and I'll say control math template. This colon equal to sign is used to store a variable or a function. So how do you get this colon equal to sign is control, and beside the 9 key you can see a math template key, and above this key you can see a colon equal to sign. So you just press control and that key and you will get this colon equal to, and you can say, okay, this is 2/3. So fraction template 2/3, hit enter, it is saved. Now if you press A, it comes in bold. Why it is coming in bold? Because it is saved under the memory of TI. So now if you hit enter, it says 2/3. So by this method, you can even save a function. Let's say f of x, I want to save a function as f of x. I just say control and this key, this is colon equal to. Now it says, okay, what is the function? What is the function? Okay, that function is minus x plus 4. I'll come out of this. I'll say multiplied by x minus 1. So this is a quadratic function. I hit enter, it's saved. Okay, it is saved under the memory of TI. Now I can use this function in any of the pages. So beauty of this is you can even find f of 2. Hit f2, it gives you the value. F of 0, it gives you a value 4. So when x equals to 4 or x equals to 2 or x equals to 0, it gives you the function's value. You can even use this if you add another page and you can go to graph. You need not to enter the whole equation again. You can just say f of x, hit enter, the graph will automatically be plotted for you. So this is how you can store a variable. This is how you can store a function. You can use a variable here itself. Hit tab to make it the entry field visible and hit A. It's coming in bold. Hit enter. A line of A equals to 2/3 will be plotted for you. Not even this. If you go to your calculator page, let's say you have calculated this generally for IGCSE like 2/3. It gives you 2/3 answer. Why? Because my setting is in auto mode. If you press control enter, it gives you an approximate answer 0.667. Okay, so now you can even change 0.667 into again a fraction. How? You just go to menu, you just go to number, and you can see a different options available, like convert to decimal, approximate to fraction, factor. You can do LCM, you can do GCD, you can find remainder, you can even do other things like proper fraction. You can even find denominator. So let's say I want to approximate it into a fraction. Okay, I'll select option number 2, hit enter, it gives you 2/3 again. So if you are converting from fraction to decimal or decimal to fraction, these option helps. So now if you have any question, you come up with your question. How do we get the mean in a new page? Okay, so if you want a mean in a new page, you can add a new page, a calculator page, and you can just scroll to menu, statistics, list operation, list math. Okay, list math, and you can even have a mean here. Okay, so come once again, statistics, list math, a mean. Okay, hit enter. It asks you what is the list. Inside this argument you have to put a list. Let's say you haven't stored a list, like Monica has showed you. You can store a list in a list and spreadsheet. Now if you don't have that much of capability of storing a list, you can use these curly brackets. You can use these curly brackets to make a list. Let's say 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 5 comma 6 comma 6 5, let's say 10 10, let's say again 10. Hit enter, gives you a mean. Okay, it gives you a mean. So this is how you can generate a mean also in a new calculator page without storing a table. Any other question? Any other question? So this was the introduction. This was the introduction to TI Nspire CX2 and the tips and the tricks what you can use in your coming years, or if you are 9th grade, you can use it in the 10th grade. If you are in the 10, you can use it 11, 12th grade. In coming month, September, we will be having a topic wise and a grade wise webinars every week. Okay, every week we will be having IGCSE, IB, grade 10, grade 9, or grade 11. Okay, so we will be having exclusive webinar and we will be selecting topics from your curriculum and we will be having a webinar on it. Okay, so stay tuned. We will be giving you email, lot of email on the webinar. So please save our email IDs. Okay. Many students asked me like where I can get my software license key. So with the calculator inside a packaging, you would have got this pamphlet. Okay, you would have got this pamphlet. It looks similar like this. Okay, the yellow on the top, and it should be written like TI Nspire CX. And on the second page, the license key is written here. If you have lost, I'm so sorry. This is it's very hard to retrieve the license key, or we cannot do that. Okay, so you have to write a letter to TI, Texas Instrument. Maybe they can help. How to unsave the data, how to reload a previous instruction. On a calculator page, Yuvraj, you can do like, let's say you want to do mean again. One way is just go back, hit enter, and change the table. One way is go back and change the table. Okay, let's say I want to change like this. You can do. This is one way. Other way, if you use control menu, here first you have to create the list and just select this list and control menu. And can you do? No, you cannot repeat like, but what you can do, just go back, hit enter, copy paste, change the values. Okay, this is how you can do. How do I save my previous answer into variable? Yeah, if you want to save this, let's say if you want to save 5/7, you just name it anything, B. Okay, control this, go to that option, hit enter. It says now B is going to save as 52/7. Hit enter, it is saved, it is B. Okay, so this is how you can save. Assign value of variable once again. So we will be providing you the recordings, no issue. Go see the recording and you will get to know. Like I've shown you, I just shown you how you can save, you can store a variable. Like first give the name, then colon equal to, then whatever value you want to give it to it, just give it. Yeah, you can leave. So if your friend or your classmate haven't got the calculator yet, or they are planning to buy the calculator, please, I'm sharing my address, I'm sharing my email ID with all of you. These are my email IDs. Like you can ping us on revati@numericalanalytics.com or technical support. Please write down my email IDs, these two email IDs. You will be getting a lot of emails from these two email IDs on the webinar what we are going to have in the coming month. And if you want to buy the calculator, you can just ping us on this email ID, like you want to buy, and we will be giving you off a school discount or whatever you want. And we also provide you a guidebook. So whoever has already bought the calculator has got the guidebooks as well with the calculator, and these guidebooks are really helpful to understand the calculator better. Okay, so do use that guidebook as well. So just give a thumbs up to this webinar, and we are almost 3 minutes over our time. So thank you all for joining the today's webinar. Thank you. Thank you. If you like this webinar, just give a thumbs up. Thank you. License key is used to activate the software for lifetime. Thank you. Student software is also for lifetime. Thank you all. If you don't have any further question, you can leave. Nandini, to download the GDC software, you have to go to education.ti.com website. And let me just share the link in the chat. Education.ti.com. And inside the download section, you can download the software. Students can have 30-day trial version for 1 month. Teachers have 90 days trial version. Thank you, Anuj. Thank you, Chandan. Thank you, Mark. Nandini, I hope I answered your question. You can just go to, yeah, I think I answered. Thank you, Rahil. Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you, Sanskar. Thank you, Shriram.